Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. Okay, well, Game 5 just ended, and the Los Angeles Clippers did win the game as I predicted. Um, thing about it is, I'm very, very glad I didn't make a video right before the game because when I found out Zubats wasn't going to be playing, I immediately started thinking it was doom and gloom for the LA Clippers. But Zubats' absence did not affect the Clippers one bit. In fact, if anything, it may have helped because it now put them in a space where they had to pick up the pace, and most importantly, they all had to take it upon themselves to rebound the ball as a team. They couldn't rely upon Zubats' size to overtake what Ayton brought to the table. So being that Ty Lue is as great as he is at making adjustments, once he realized Zubats was out, he immediately made the adjustments necessary to assure that they were able to rebound the ball. You saw guys clogging the paint, especially in the first quarter, establishing not only that they wanted to rebound the ball as a team, but that they were going to intend to get out to a hot start with a fast pace. And they were going to take advantage of the fact that Zubats wasn't out there, meaning that they would be able to kind of run the ball. And that would be the way they would have to go because Ayton dominated so much in the last game. To now, when you remove Zubats from the game, on paper, it looks like he's about to eat. He's going to have 20-20 game. You know what I mean? So what they needed to do, they were able to do. And that was get rebounds from just about everybody. So that was the first thing I wanted to mention was that the Phoenix Suns did not take advantage of the fact that Zubats was not out there. They did not rebound the ball as well as they did in Game 4, and that contributed to their woes this evening. Now, another thing that really helped the Clippers was the fact that they got stellar play out of multiple players tonight. Paul George was absolutely and utterly phenomenal. He was playoff P. Playoff P. There will be no making fun of that man tonight. He went completely nuts. I believe he had 41 points, 12 rebounds, something like that, maybe a 6 assists or something really great. And what was most important about that was that he did it within the flow of the game. He was highly efficient. I think he only missed like 6 shots. He made most of his free throws, if not all of them. And what you saw from him was it seemed like, to be completely honest with you, and Jeff Van Gundy pointed this out earlier in the game. It seemed like he wasn't meeting the intensity early on. Second quarter, when it seems like the rest of the team was kind of matching what the Phoenix Suns were bringing to them, trying to adjust to the fact that they had come out to a fast start. Once it became clear that the Phoenix Suns were now trying to come at Paul George, it appeared as if he wasn't quite ready to pick up that intensity. But as soon as Jeff Van Gundy said that, from that moment on, it was like Paul George heard him or something, and ended up stringing together just pretty much perfect basketball after that exact moment. So, what I saw from the guy was just why he is the best player on this team. Um, it's because he's the most talented player on the team. He's the most talented guy. When you talk about trying to get an easy bucket, somebody who's uh, got the body for being able to guard multiple positions, someone who has to handle and the wherewithal to pass the ball, not just shoot it, despite being a score first player. Someone who rebounds the ball better than most of the players who have his body type. See, not only does he have an ideal body type, but he rebounds the ball extremely well, just for a player his size. So even if you don't have a guy like Zubats on the floor, you can actually count on him to give you 14, 15 boards consistently if necessary, because he did it with everywhere he's on the Phoenix, on the Indiana Pacers, Oklahoma City Thunder, and of course here as well with the LA Clippers. So uh, I think, and one of the reasons why I've kind of come to the defense of Paul George is because I think he's been working very hard on trying to shake off whatever he's been dealing with that's kept him from being as successful as he should be. Um, I can see that he's been working on it. So when he has little moments where it appears as if that is coming back, my curiosity is okay. It's not that I'm not expecting that to be the case. The question is he going to be able to shake it off? You see what I'm saying? And he is. He is shaking it off. So to me, um, I still don't want to deviate from my pick for the beginning of the series. I've been wrong about just about every prediction I've had lately, and sometimes when I listen back to my commentary, sometimes I go against the commentary itself in the picks. So it's like when it comes to this, my gut is telling me, just like at the beginning of this game, that this series is not over. Um, my prediction was that the Suns would win in six, but a lot of things have happened that have changed that had nothing to do with how I saw the series going. So now that we're here at the sixth game, I'm not really certain that my idea of how this series is going to go ends here in six. I don't know that the Suns are going to be able to go into the Clippers arena and win a game after a clunker like the one that they had tonight. Um, See, the thing about it is, when you have that many players shooting that well on the road, you had Reggie Jackson playing amazing. Marcus Morris was fantastic tonight shooting the ball. Uh, Patrick Beverly was all over the place. He was getting in people's heads doing Patrick Beverly stuff. He's not going to really affect what goes on from a scoring perspective. He'll do what he can defensively, but most importantly, he needs to be able to be a pest. He needs to get under people's skin. He needs to make people angry at him, and he did that tonight. So you have everybody being themselves, doing exactly what the Clippers need, and you weren't able to deliver on your home floor when you had a packed crowd full of people who were very, very excited about this game. It was just a lackluster performance by the Suns based on the fact that they did not match the intensity of the Clippers. To me, the Clippers played like they were the home team. That's what it felt like. It felt like the Clippers were the home team. The crowd was ready. The Clippers was ready. But the Suns weren't ready. That's what I saw. And it wasn't that the Suns weren't ready to play a basketball game against anybody. They weren't ready to play a basketball game of this magnitude on this night. That's the vibes that I got from the Suns team. If they was playing against the Orlando Magic or something, they would have won. If they was playing against somebody who wasn't bringing it like that on a regular night, yeah, just a random night against Golden State or something, maybe they get a victory tonight because they played well, but not well enough to win against a team who's fighting with their back against the wall. You know what I mean? No, they didn't bring it tonight for that. Booker did some good things out there. I saw some good stuff out of him. I felt like he brought it. He had over 30 points. He was ready to go. I didn't see Ayton's stats, but I was disappointed because I didn't see him take advantage of the size mismatch that he had out there a lot of the time. Now, maybe he was in foul trouble. To be honest with you, I just didn't see a whole lot of him. And when I did see him out there, he wasn't making any noise to me. It was not an Ayton night, and it should have been. So that was a thing. Cam Johnson was fantastic. Cam Johnson was absolutely fantastic. And the thing that you really like about Cam Johnson is he tends to find himself involved in passing lanes. Defensively, he gets tipped balls and deflections as well as anybody. And for this to be a young player, I believe he's a rookie, if not a rookie, a second-year guy, something like that. For him to be in his first playoffs, in his first Western Conference Finals, he is making an impact. And tonight he had a really, really big game. He just seemed to be everywhere, though. Even all series long, it seems like every time there's a tip, steal, Cam Johnson. Oh, it's a pass broken up by Cam Johnson. Like, it's becoming a reoccurring thing for him to be involved defensively. And for him to be somebody who you want to shoot the ball and someone who's being fantastic offensively, you're starting to realize that this is a two-way player. You're starting to really understand that Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson are two players you want to keep together going forward because they're defensive swingmen that as they get stronger, they're going to continue to be a part of winning situations. I can tell you that right now. Those two players are the truth, and I think Phoenix should find a way to get them signed, both of them, right away. So that's what I wanted to say. He's been really good for that team. On the opposite side of things, I felt like Boogie Cousins played phenomenally, filling in for Zubac. He looked good out there. He was getting off the floor. He dunked the ball tonight. He was getting easy buckets, making his free throws, doing all the stuff you need Boogie to do, getting rebounds. So that was really, really a welcome sight for the Clips. Terrence Mann was a bit quiet for me tonight. I don't know. He's a young player, so you're not going to get 39 out of him every night. But what I do like about him is he's engaged, even though he's not necessarily jumping off the screen tonight. You definitely saw him out there very much involved in what they're doing. He's become a steady, sturdy defensive player that I'm liking a lot, and I think the Clippers should equally pay him as well, make sure he's signed as well. So it's a lot of good stuff that you saw out there from both teams. Ultimately, more from the Clippers because they just had so much fantastic individual performances from players. As I said, Marcus Morris, I don't want this video to go away without me putting the emphasis on how fantastic he was shooting in that second quarter and throughout the game. He really, really was one of the reasons why they got off to such a fast start. He looked like, I was calling him Marcus Middleton out there because he looked like Chris Middleton from yesterday when Chris was going off. That's how Marcus was looking in that first half. He couldn't miss, man. So when he's shooting like that, and then you got Reggie playing like this, and then you got Paul George having a game of his life, and like I said, Boogie's playing well. You got what's his name, Beverly playing well. It's just a lot going on that the Suns would have to try to compete with, and you would think they would. That's the thing that bothers me. They had enough weapons. They had the home court advantage, and I said this at the beginning of the series. I felt like the Suns played to their crowd very well. I felt like they were almost too reliant on their crowd in the first two games. You know what I mean? And for them to come back home and not at all even play to the crowd, like it seemed like they weren't ready for the crowd. I don't know. I felt like the Suns took some steps back tonight as a team. They took some steps back. And I was saying this halfway through the fourth quarter. To me, the Suns haven't played well enough to win the games that they've won since basically game 2. They didn't play as great as they should have in game 3. They didn't play as well as they should have in game 4. And they did not play as well as they should have in game 5. And that's what I'm seeing. Ever since Chris Paul went down and Cam Payne went down, they've been kind of going through the motions and getting away with it. And I've been saying that the whole time. Now that the tide is turning, the Clippers have all the momentum headed back to LA. I think the Phoenix Suns are on their heels right now. If I'm the LA Clippers, I'm saying we the ones that should be up 3-1, not them. We the ones should be up, you know what I mean? Like going into this particular game, considering what they've gone through, considering the fact that Zubac wasn't out there, they still won. Kawhi ain't been out there, they're still getting games out of this series. Listen, Phoenix Suns have a good chance of winning the championship. But if I'm the Clippers, I feel good about going up against them. If I'm the Bucks and I'm watching this series, I feel real good about going up against the Suns. If I'm the Hawks and I'm able to get out of that series with the Bucks, I feel real good about going up against the Suns after tonight. This is not a good game for the Suns tonight. That's what I'm saying to you guys. The mystique that they had going into this game has kind of gotten erased by this game, if you're asking me. I'm just going by how I feel watching them. I ain't as afraid of them tonight as I was. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just not. And the reason why is because they didn't seem like they were ready to play with the intensity necessary to win a playoff game. And I just hadn't felt that way about watching these Suns. I think they approached this game knowing that they had the crowd behind them, knowing that the Clippers should otherwise be going home, knowing that Zubac wasn't going to play. And they probably felt like the same way I did. Once they got that news about Zubac, it was like, oh, Aiden about to eat. We cool. And that's the wrong approach. Not when Boogie's on the other side. Not when you got Reggie Jackson playing stellar. Not when you got Paul George ready to go. I mean, listen. As somebody who watches a lot of basketball, I tell you, my gut is telling me the Clippers have taken this series by the horns. They have control of the series, even though they're down. All the momentum is headed their way. The building is theirs, and they just won on the road, so they know they can win there. I don't think a team could feel better about going into a Game 6 where they're down than the Clippers feel right now. I'm telling you, I don't think you can. The last time I felt like this was when the Lakers were down to Boston 3-2, and I felt like we had a chance to win, and we ended up coming back with some stellar play by Pau Gasol and, of course, Metta World Peace. But I felt like the Lakers could win that series, and we did. This is the same way I felt. This is the exact same way. If I'm a Clipper fan, I'm telling you, you feel the same way I felt when I was going into that series, because you have the edge. You know that you have the mental edge on the team going up against you. You know that the stronger, mentally tougher players are on your side right now. And that's the thing. When I look at the Clippers, and I'm going to say this, and it's not going to come out right, but it's a fact. The weakest-minded player on the Clipper team is the most talented player over there, Paul George. So that means that Paul George, as the respectfully as possible saying this, weaker-minded player, has everything around him that he needs. See, that's the part that you need to understand from a chemistry standpoint. What you want to provide stars is everything that they lack. Paul George doesn't lack anything but the toughness to face the moment. But all of the guys around him have it. All of them. And I look at the GM of the Clippers and I just have to clap. I look at Jerry West and I have to clap because I realized that they recognized what their stars needed. And that was tough-minded stars and a tough-minded coach. Tough-minded role players and tough-minded coach. And that's exactly what they have. You look around at that Clipper team, you see a bunch of dogs, man. Real live dogs. From Batum to Morris to Boogie. Look around at Beverly. Just keep naming them off. Like, they just keep coming. Man, they got them. Rondo. Everybody on the team, even the way Zubats has approached this series, everybody on this team has a certain level of grit. And it's no surprise that they're coming back from 0-2 deficits and is still alive despite being in these situations that they've been with no Kawhi. It's because everybody there is cold-blooded dog, period. They of that ilk. And I'm telling you, Phoenix don't have that. They have talented dogs. I think Booker's of that ilk. I think Chris Paul is of that ilk. But after that, I don't know. Nick Crowder, they don't have as many of those guys as the Clippers do. So, what you're seeing is championship caliber stuff out of the LA Clippers, man. It's something I never thought I'd live to see or say. But I'm seeing a championship caliber team. I'm seeing a guy like Paul George who don't have to really worry about keeping it all together because everybody around him will. And a coach that makes adjustments that'll help him throughout his situation. Where really all he has to do is just do what comes naturally to you, which is score the ball, rebound the ball, defend where you can. All that other stuff will be taken care of. All the dirty work and the hardcore mental stuff be done by the dogs around you. And it's a perfect storm right now. And look, they're playing their best basketball at the right time. Even though they ain't shooting the ball well from game to game, they're playing great defense from game to game. The adjustments are working from game to game. They're getting individual superstar caliber performances from players that they need from game to game. The series has changed, man. The tide has changed. What needs to happen now is Phoenix need to go into LA and approach the game the same way the Clippers approached Game 5. Go into that building looking to dominate the boards and get an early start. You need to string together early shots fast, because what I'm seeing is a Clipper team that's not afraid of no deficit at all. So if you get up by 10, the lead's not safe. You go up by 12, the lead's not safe. They've been playing Game 7 basketball now for 4 quarters. That's another thing about the situation that the Phoenix Suns are facing. This Clipper team has already had their back up against the wall now for a game. And they've been playing with their backs against the wall all playoffs because of their circumstances, being down 0-2 each series. You got to match that intensity now. See, that was the problem. You didn't match it. That desperation, that win or go home, they've been living nestled in that comfort space for a while now. You haven't even faced that yet. You ain't had y'all backs against the wall like that. So, that's another thing. Even though you're up 3-2, pressure's on you to match the intensity of a team that's used to having their back against the wall. So it's a lot going on right now. This series is real. There it is. It's all laid out flat for you. Where to go from here, you tell me. I said Suns in 6. I'm not going to deviate. I got too much pride to deviate from what I said. But everything's laid out flat. You know what it is. My name is BDF44. Thank you guys for listening to this long video. I'm out.